So today is going to be an amazing day, and here's why. Because I get to welcome one of my greatest inspirations to the Inspiration Show. I am so beyond honored and excited to welcome the amazingly talented Hattie Ryan King to the Inspiration Show. Hattie has truly been one of my greatest inspirations and has had such a special impact on my life and my theater journey. Thank you so much, Hattie, for being here. I have so much love and admiration for you, and I can't wait to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much, Allison. Truly, it's such an honor to be here. I so appreciate you getting in touch with me and everything. Like, this is so fun for me. So, thank you.
So, when did you discover that you had a passion for singing and for theater?
Oh my gosh, singing. I feel like I've been a singer my entire life. Like when I was little, as kids do. Like I have like strong memories of like singing in like the bathtub, like making up songs when I was like 3 and 4 years old. And I think I've always been someone who enjoys attention. So like again, like 3, 4, 5 years old, I think I learned from a young age, like if you can make people laugh, if you can impress people, like they'll give you attention, and then that's really fun. So I've definitely been an entertainer from a very, very young age, but I think it was around like fifth or sixth grade when that like love kind of started to translate into like theatrical endeavors. I started to do choir in elementary school and middle school, and then in middle school is when I did my first like musical. I did The Music Man. I was in the seventh grade. I got to be in the ensemble. It was amazing. And then in the eighth grade, I got to do Thoroughly Modern Millie, and I got to play Millie. And I think it was like that experience of getting to like read a musical and getting to have that entire rehearsal process and show week and everything that I was like, oh, I actually think I'm addicted to this and I think I want to do it forever. And I told my mom that. And thankfully, I know this is not the case for everyone. So I'm very grateful and very lucky that this is the case. But she was so on board and was so supportive and did everything that she could to get me into dance classes and community theater productions and all of that. And that's kind of where it started. And like, I've truly never looked back. I've never questioned if that was like the right choice or anything. Like, it's kind of just been like a very focused path ever since then.
Oh, that's incredible. And I mean, like being bit by the theater bug, I will forever say
Hmm.
like is the greatest gift in the whole entire world. But having
Yes.
that support system of people that are like, let's get you to dance class, let's get you into singing lessons, let's get you to acting classes, like that is the root of our industry, having that support. And I'm so glad you had that.
Truly, yes. I'm so grateful. I mean, I know that my mom could have, no, you have to major in XYZ, whatever, but she was
Yeah.
like, no, I really see that this is like a true passion for you, and you this is like your very specific gifting. And so she rose up and supported me in that. I'm so grateful forever.
Yeah. So what really inspired you to become a performer and who has been an inspiration of yours throughout your career?
Oh my goodness, there have been so many people. I remember I was in high school. I had a teacher. His name was Sawyer Wallace, and he was doing like our pre-show speech, kind of like backstage, that like pre-show like pep talk, and
Yep.
it's almost
Those
like
are the
I
best.
it's like that like sports huddle when you get around and you're like, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna, But in his like talk, I remember him saying like, we are storytellers, and all we have to do is go out there and tell a good story. And I had never heard it phrased like that before. And I remember when he said that, I felt like my eyes were like open, and I was like, that is magical. I was like, what do you mean I get to call myself a storyteller? Like, that is so magical. And I feel like that was like one of the first moments that I like latched on to like, oh, this might be like a divine calling for me. Like being a storyteller. And that teacher Sawyer, he's actually a really good friend of mine now. And I mean, he taught me so much in high school that like I still carry on to this day. So he's been a huge inspiration for me. I've had so many educators over the years. Nat McIntyre is another one. He was one of my educators in college, and I feel like through his acting class, like I learned so much, so much. So I think teachers, I feel like that kind of tends to be, as theater people, like the people that we like latch onto, the people that like pass down this like onus of being a theater person and theater education onto us. Like so many people that have like ushered me along the way that I'm just eternally grateful for.
Yeah. I know, like, as someone too who's been like in arts education ever since
Hmm.
elementary school and then being a theater major in high school, like, I just kind of clung to it. And those teachers really, like, they were my people. And like, I'll never forget, like you were saying, like, I was always that actor that would beat myself up if I got a line wrong or I didn't miss my, or I missed my mark or something like that. And my theater teacher was like, that's okay. That's the story that you told tonight. Tomorrow,
Mm,
you'll tell a different story. Maybe your character was going through something that caused you to do what you did. And like that kind of changed my perspective on like what you said, like we are storytellers and this is what we
mhm.
do. We step into these shoes and we tell the story. And yes, we're speaking the same words, singing the same songs every night, but it's different every night. And that's so special.
Exactly. Yes, like there's a reason that it's live theater. There's a reason that it's not just like movies or TV shows. Like there's a reason that we do it live every single night. Like the process that we go through and the changes, the subtle changes that we make just based on how you feel or what you had for breakfast that day. Like all of those things are so important to the like the gift and the art form that is live theater. I love that.
Yeah. Can you take us back to the first time you experienced theater and how you were feeling at the time?
Oh my gosh. I think, oh, what was it? Let's see. I I feel like I think my first like show that I saw was the Phantom of the Opera. And
Iconic.
I mean, right, iconic. Like it just feels like one of those like classic. But I knew the movie. Like we had watched the movie with what's oh, I can't even remember their names now. Is it Russell Crowe that's in that movie? No. Who is it? I don't
Who
remember.
is?
Anyways, it's Emily Rossum
Yeah.
and um oh, and that guy who's about to be in Lost Boys.
Isn't it? Is it? No, it's
My
not
mind
Michael
is
Clark.
blanking.
Is
No,
it Michael Clark? It's not.
no, I'm okay. Anyways, that's besides the point. We can all Google this later.
Yeah.
But I was like obsessed with the movie, and I remember like watching it with my family, and like just it like I never felt so like enveloped by like a story and like a piece of like media in that way. I wanted to be Christine. I was fascinated by the Phantom, and I loved the music, and so I remember seeing it live. It was like a touring production that had come through my hometown. I was young, but maybe not as young as like most people are when they see their first piece of live theater. I think I was like maybe 10 or 11, somewhere around there. And like seeing it on stage and being like, oh, those are like real people who are doing it. That's not just like a movie. And like getting to like hear the music and the fact that everyone was like wearing nice dresses. Like I remember me and my family, we all like wore dresses, and like that was so fun to me that we like got dressed up to like go see a show. Um, and I just remember being like enchanted by the fact that like this thing that I had seen as a movie was also like something like real and actual that like could happen to me that I could like go and experience in that way. And yeah, I think I just like loved every piece of it. The fact that it was like an event and the fact that it was like something I could go do with my family and like that we took an entire evening to do it and you got dinner beforehand. Like I just like that whole process of all of it was like so fun to me. And then not to mention the fact that the show is amazing and still to this day, like one of my very favorites. Um, yeah, I like, oh, that's fun to remember. I haven't thought about that in a long time.
And it's so special too, especially when it's a movie musical, like having seen the movie before and then watching those
Hmm.
events like unfold right before your eyes, and you're like, oh my God, it's right in front of me. Like that's a transformative experience too, especially when you saw it
Yes,
on screen and now it's like right in front of you.
absolutely. Yeah, so cool.
So you were a Jimmy Award nominee in 2017.
Yes.
And the Jimmy Awards are such a defining moment for so many young performers. And we also have to mention how full circle it is that Ben Platt hosted your year and introduced you. And then you went on to star in Dear Evan Hansen. So, what did the Jimmys mean to you, like that whole experience? And how did it influence your path to pursuing musical theater professionally?
Absolutely. I mean, a huge, paramount, truly like I definitely account like that time in my life as being so pivotal for my journey as like a young artist and also just everything that like was my mindset. So I didn't really know about the Jimmy Awards until I was going to them because the year that I went, 2017, was the first year that my regional awards program was sending people to the Jimmy Awards. So like a lot of people like they grow up and they like know about the Jimmys and they dream of going and all of this stuff. I went in like so blind. Like I had no idea what I was doing, what I was getting myself into. I knew it was exciting and I knew it was like a really amazing opportunity, but that was kind of like the extent of it. So and I think that did me well because I didn't put much pressure on myself. I just went in to like have a good time, basically. But it was a really hard week. Like they put you through like these entire like full almost like 12-hour days of like rigorous training, like music rehearsals, dance rehearsals, workshops, master classes, like all of this stuff. You're like running around New York City, you're seeing shows, you're having all these like amazing experiences, you're meeting like, dozens of like other high school performers that are like you. And for me that was also really cool because I'm from Nashville, but which in my brain I was about to say I'm from a small town, which I'm not. I'm not from a small town, but I am from like a small community where like I didn't have a ton of people around me that were like as serious about theater as I was. And especially the high school that I went to, because I went to a private high school, I didn't have many people that I knew who were going to pursue this seriously in the way that I knew that I was going to. And so to go to the Jimmy Awards and be surrounded by like dozens of other high schoolers who were taking this just as seriously as I was, that was in a way like kind of shocking to be like, oh man, I'm not special. But in another way to be like, oh my gosh, like there's more of us, and like there's so many people around who are like so talented, and like there's such new heights of talent to aspire to and to be inspired by. So that was a really amazing experience. And then part of it too, I felt like for the first time I was really being treated like a serious professional, and I really liked it. And I was like, oh, this is actually really fun. And it kind of confirmed that that was something that I wanted. Because I thought that I wanted to be a theater professional, but I had never really got to experience it in that way. And so going through like all of that training and getting all of those rehearsals and working with all of those mentors kind of confirmed for me like, oh yes, this is something I would like, and this is something that I think I would be successful at. And then I mean, just the whole process of the award show itself. I will never forget the first time that we walked into the men's golf, and like the way that they do it is so cheeky and so amazing. They take you through backstage. Like they don't immediately take you on stage. You're like walking through backstage and you don't really know where you are, and it's like dark and there's like props from the Lion King all around. And because you don't know your way around the theater, you don't realize that like all of a sudden you are walking on the stage. And then they like turn the lights on and you like look up and you're like, holy moly, I'm standing on the stage of a Broadway theater, which I had never done before. And I broke down, just like sobbing, crying, so overwhelmed, but so amazed and inspired to be like looking out at this Broadway house and just being so struck with the truth in my heart of like, this is where I dream to be one day. Like this is the only thing that I want to see for the rest of my life, is like looking out into like a massive house being hit by like lights and like being on a stage and like knowing that like that's where I'm meant to be. So like I mean all of that was just so amazing. And then the award show itself and just getting to do all of that and like being a finalist and yeah, the bin flat of it all of that was truly like such a turning point for me. I came home from that whole experience just like more focused than ever, just so inspired, so sure that that is exactly what I was meant to be doing. I truly could not like be more grateful for that experience, and just more just amazed by how right place, right time, the things that are meant for you, all of that. Like it truly was just such a like that is such an important like milestone in my career and in my life.
Yeah. And your performance like lives rent free in my head. Like your like
Oh,
the song selection, like oh, it was just amazing. And like having that sense of belonging, like I'll never forget that too. Like my first time on tour as like, a young kid and stepping out on stage and seeing this house and being like, this is where I belong. That's the most
yes. Hmm.
oh, it's
Absolutely.
so this actually shocked me because I didn't know this about you. You can be heard on MTI licensing records as the voice of Mary Poppins and Belle, which is like the coolest thing ever. What does that mean to you to know that people are listening to your voice and feeling inspired as they embark on their own theater journeys?
It's that part of my like career in life that's truly like such a cool thing. It's so interesting because like that's those recordings don't get released to like the general public. It's not like they're like put out on Spotify or anything. They are used as like educational like reference recordings for like junior musicals and stuff like that. There's a few others that I've gotten to do, and all of it has just been like so amazing. And anytime I hear of someone, they're like, oh, I'm doing Chicago School Edition, or I'm doing like Finding Nemo, and I can be like, hey, like my voice is on the recording. And I have some friends too, like they now work in educational theater, and sometimes they'll message me and they'll be like, I'm doing this musical, and is that your voice I'm hearing? And I'm like, that is me. Like that's so crazy. But that's so special to know that like the gifts that I have and the things that are near and dear to me are like being passed on to like younger generations. To think of like someone in their first middle school musical who's using a reference recording of my voice to like learn how to like sing whatever song it is. Because like when I was in Millie, I used those reference recordings. And so like that part was like so full circle for me as well to know that like I was then getting to do that. So amazing. And throughout those like recording processes, I got to work with like incredible people and I learned so much. And the experience of like working in a studio and like just learning that kind of different side of artistry in the industry, like just such a cool process. So I'm so grateful for that. And it's a very cool souvenir to have those recordings, like to get to listen to them and be like, oh my God, is that what I sound like? So very, very cool.
Yeah, and like getting to be that stepping stone for young children who are like probably doing their first musicals, like you said, and getting to guide them through that.
Yes.
Like that's just so special. Oh.
So cool.
So you've brought so many beloved stories to life in incredible regional theater productions like The Last 5 Years, Beauty and the Beast, Little Women, and Ragtime. So which regional theater productions have been the most memorable for you? And can you share standout moments?
Oh my gosh. One of my most memorable would have to be Beauty and the Beast. I was in college at Lipscomb University, which is in Nashville, which is where I mostly grew up. And so I got to be in the production of Beauty and the Beast at Studio 10, which is like a huge regional theater in Nashville, which I had like grown up going to see shows at. And this production of Beauty and the Beast, I got to be in it with actors that I had like grown up admiring and like idolizing almost. And so then getting to play Belle while I was in college with all of these people at this incredible regional theater that I was just like already obsessed with. It just felt so like mind boggling. I was like, I'm sorry. Like I remember I went to the audition just for fun, you know, and then they like called me back for Belle and I was like, wait, you're serious? And then they like cast me and I was like, wait, you're serious? I mean, so that was just so cool to be surrounded by people that I had like admired who were mentors for me. And to kind of have this like realization of like, oh, like these are not just people that like I like put above me. Like these are people that can be my peers and collaborators and like fellow artists. And that was a very, very cool moment for me. And clearly Disney is like so near and dear to my heart. So getting to tell stories in that way is so special for me. And it was also a Christmas production. So that was also so special that we got to do it like around the holidays and, you know, little girls coming to the theater dressed in their Belle outfits and all of that. And getting to have like family in town because it was the holidays and they got to come see it as well. And all of that was just like so special. So that was, that's something I will forever hold near and dear to my heart.
Oh, and I mean, Beauty and the Beast is just the best. Like, it's my favorite Disney movie. And I can't imagine what that was like for you, getting to stand on that stage where you grew up seeing shows and getting to work with your heroes is just, it's an experience within itself. It's so special.
Yes, it truly is. It was so amazing.
Oh, so out of all the roles you stepped into regionally, are there a few that stand out to you for specific reasons?
Oh, that's a great question. I think Belle, I mean, obviously Belle was a very special one. Little, no, not Little Women. No. Sorry, I'm like my brain is getting a little boggled here. The last 5 years is what I was gonna say. Kathy is like was such a dream role for mine for so long. And then I got to do that show coming out of COVID, I think it was.
As
And
it
I got
should be. That show is everything. Oh,
yes, I love it. Like I remember I would like drive to school and like I could sing all of Kathy's parts and Jamie's parts. And then
that's
obviously
good for
like
you.
as a woman in theater, you know, like that story is just far too like real at times.
Yeah.
I mean, so that one was so special. Little Women is a very special one for me just because I do have sisters, and so like just any story like that that like has to do with sisters in that way is like so special. Yeah, it's hard to choose. I'm like all of the work I've gotten to do is like just it's all like that's a dream role, and that's a dream role, and that's a dream show. So I'm so grateful for all of it. But yeah, Kathy would definitely be a special one. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I'm so excited to get into this because you came into my life through this and then putting it together that you were in the Jimmies and I saw you growing up was just so special. And I mean, your rendition of this show has to be my favorite, and I'm just so
Oh,
grateful I got to watch you shine. So you recently completed your run as Zoe Murphy in the national tour of Dear Evan Hansen. So can you share a little bit about your journey with Dear Evan Hansen from your audition process to closing night of tour?
Absolutely. So to it's speaking of all of the full circleness, I got to audition for Dear Evan Hansen for the very first time because of the Jimmy Awards, actually. So I don't know like whether representatives from Tara Rubin or Tara Rubin herself had been at the awards. I got an email probably like 5 to 6 months later. It was like later that fall, with like a self tape request for the Broadway and touring productions of Dear Evan Hansen. And so this was like my freshman year of college. I was like 19 years old. I had never auditioned for anything on Broadway ever. And so like getting this email was like the craziest thing to me. But it was also like, yes, this is it. I'm going to be on Broadway and I'm going to leave college and I'm going to, all of my dreams are going to come true. Um, which I mean, spoiler alert, it didn't happen then. Obviously, it happened like years and years later. But that whole process was just the craziest thing to me to like be in college. I like sent a tape and then I got to like go in person and audition for them. And then I didn't hear anything from them for like 6 months. And then I got another tape request and then I went in person again. And it kind of continued for a couple of years leading up to the pandemic, actually. So I would like go in for them every like 6 months or so. Like sometimes they would call me in for Alana, sometimes Zoe. Usually it was Zoe, but sometimes it was both of the girls. Sometimes it was like specifically listed as like Broadway and tour. Sometimes it was just tour. So that whole process was just like crazy to like be in college, but to kind of have it in the back of my mind, like maybe I could get a call any day that I am going to be on Broadway. And that was like truly like the nearest dearest dream of my heart. Like all I wanted was to like leave school and to be on Broadway. And the pandemic happened and then the tour reopened, but I didn't get a call about it or anything. Like I didn't go back in for it. And then the first national tour ended up closing. And I thought like my journey with that show was over. And then I was getting off of my first Disney Cruise Line contract, and I saw that they were launching the non-union tour, the second national tour. And I was like, holy cow, like this might be it. And then they were like doing an open call and all of that. And I was like, well, obviously I'm submitting. So I submitted for Zoe and then got invited to send a tape and then got invited to a first appointment. And then it was like a final appointment. And I mean, it just felt that was one of the few times I've been like in an audition process that like I felt such a peace about it. You know, sometimes you go to these auditions and you're so like, oh, I hope they like me and yada yada and all this stuff. But like I felt so settled within myself that this role was right for me, that the timing was right for me, that the magnitude of the project was right for where I was at that time in my career. And it just all felt like it really made so much sense. It was so aligned. And like, I don't want that to come off as like cocky or like full of myself. There was just something inside me that knew that like it's the right time, it's the right project, it's the right role. Like all of it just felt so harmonious. And so when the call came, obviously I was like shocked and floored and flabbergasted and cried and like couldn't possibly believe it. But at the same time, there was something in my soul that was like, yes, like this is so correct. And it just felt like such a easy, natural next step to take. And I just couldn't have been more grateful, more floored, more excited. And then every single part of that process, like walking into that rehearsal room, like I'm so grateful that I was able to walk in just knowing like I am properly prepared for this process. I am like well equipped. I am like at the right place in my life. Like I didn't have any shadow of a doubt that I was meant to be there. And then the fact that it was an entire 7 year process of like taping for Zoe, learning that material, going in for it, and then to finally like get to do it was just so, again, just like right place, right time. Like I was like, exactly, like this is why it didn't happen 7 years ago, because it was meant to happen now. And it was meant to happen in the exact way that it happened. And I just, every part of that process was like just so dreamy, so incredible. The cast was amazing. The creative team was incredible. Being on tour was like just one of my favorite things in the entire world. I loved getting to see like all of the United States in that way. Yeah, to every single bit of it. I am so grateful for all of it.
And I mean, like, words truly do fail because, like, you were magic in that role. Like, it was made for you. Like, watching
Oh,
you and
thank
Mikey
you.
get to do that together was just incredible.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, what was your favorite part about getting to portray Zoe and bring this beloved story on tour?
Oh my goodness. I think my favorite part would really have to be the people that I got to work with. We had a very small company. It was only about 14 of us, eight on stage cast members, and then we had six covers. And we truly like got along so well as a cast. And I was a little worried going into it, like knowing that it was going to be a small cast. And it's like, well, if you don't like anyone, like there's not a lot of like places to go. You're on a tour. But every single person in that company was so humble and kind and just like such a wonderful presence to be around. I mean, Mikey, who played Evan, like we truly just got along so well and had such like an amazing dynamic on and off stage. Like I loved working with him. Like he was such a giving scene partner, such a selfless artist and actor. And so like to get to work with him so closely in that way was so amazing. And I feel like I learned so much from that. Like every single night I felt like I like learned something new about myself as an actor by like working with him and like getting to do scenes and all of that with him. But truly like every single one of those people like I love so deeply and dearly. It feels like so cheesy and like basic to say like we became a family. But like we really did. I mean, when you're on a tour like that, you kind of have like no choice but to just like get close and like hunker down together. And I really couldn't have chosen like a better group of people to do something like that with.
Yeah, I always say that like when you tour, your cast becomes like your found family, and I literally use "You Will Be Found" to explain it because like you're
Uh,
on the road for so long, and these people find you,
mhm.
just click, and they it becomes like you've known them your whole life, and it's just a great.
Yes, it is. You mentioned that you did a tour when you were little.
Yeah, when I was little, I got to do a Canadian national tour with a kids musical, and that was like it was the coolest thing.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh, that's so fun to do that like as a kid too. Like I'm sure it just felt
oh
like
yeah.
magical.
It was so magical and like hearing like at the stage door there was a lot of these kids like first theater experiences. Like I
Oh,
think to myself, like, what if these kids go into theater and like I was part of them discovering that they wanted to do it? Like it's the coolest thing because like getting to like interview people like you that like were like that for me, like having that thought in the back of my mind that I could have been that for someone else. It's the
yes,
coolest
like
thing.
that is amazing. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That's awesome. Oh, I love that.
So what drew you to the role of Zoe and how did you make the character your own?
Oh my gosh. I think Zoe always felt very familiar to me. Like even when I was younger and like starting to like work on her material, there was something about her that I just felt like already kind of like lived inside of me. She's a very honest character. She's a very like marches to the beat of her own drum kind of character. Obviously there is like some hard things that she deals with, and there have definitely been some hard things in my life that I've dealt with. And so I think that like depth and darkness also very much like spoke to me, and the fact that she could like find light despite the things that had happened. And so then when it came time to like figure out like where does my Zoe live, it I thought it would be hard. I thought it would be really hard to like create this character, but I felt like she actually sat very closely to who I truly am at my core. And all I had to do was like find the truth of myself, but then apply it to her circumstances, which is a little bit Meisnery. I studied Meisner in college, and like it's one of my favorite acting techniques. But it's like truthful actions in imagined situations. And so I feel like that's what I tried to do. I tried to allow her to be as me as possible, um, but at the same time, still like fully immersed within the things that were happening in her life and her past and her relationships and all of that. And then just figuring out like where those things like felt right, and then where I needed to kind of do a bit of like work to like bridge the gap of like maybe things that she needed to like feel and think and understand that like I personally as a person didn't always like think and feel and understand. Um and so that those are kind of like the places that I had to like do a little bit of work. But I think for the most part, like she felt very me, which I was so grateful that I was like able to do that and to get to play a character that felt that way. Um, yeah, I'm so sorry. That was like kind of like a long-winded response. But yeah, everyone that came to see the show, they all were like, she's very you. I think she was maybe a little tamer compared to me. Like I'm a very like energetic and like bubbly and kind of like neurotic personality almost, and so she didn't quite have like that side. But I think the like honest groundedness, realness, warmth, those were all things that I felt like could just be shared by me and Zoe.
Yeah. No, it's my favorite part too of being an actor of when you get to step into the shoes of a character and discover that this character at its core is really you. Like getting
Yes.
given a script and opening it, and I remember like reading through it and being like, this character is me. Like we have some
Yeah.
differences here and there, but I think it's so cool when you get to step into a role and bring yourself to this character. Like it's also so much fun playing a character that's absolutely nothing like you because that's a whole different ball game. But
Yes, it's like the
getting
whole different side of the coin.
Oh yeah, but getting to like do something that is so you at its core, like that's so special to get to step out on a stage and play someone that is truly you. That's so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, were there any moments in the show that were especially challenging or rewarding for you?
Oh, this is great. I think one of the challenging parts I think was like when it came to like Zoe's anger in certain moments. Like she had such a resentment towards her parents, which was a little hard for me at times because the two actors that were playing my parents, Jeff and Caitlin, I loved them so much.
Yeah.
And I also am someone, I think this is where Zoe and I differ a little bit. Like I am someone who like I will always seek to find understanding and I will always like search for like, well, what is redeeming about, these people, even if I don't like them so much. And that I think because Zoe is a 16-year-old character, like that's a tool that she doesn't have quite yet. So like me as like adult Hattie, I can like look at the situation of her family from the outside and be like, well, this, and that. Whereas like Zoe from the inside of it, all she can feel is like her resentment and anger and feeling of like loss and dismay. So I think those were some parts that were like a little hard for me because I'm like, especially like, the dinner scene with Cynthia, Larry, and Evan. I'm like sitting with these three people who I like love and adore, and I'm having to sit there and like act like I'm disengaged and like I'm frustrated and angry and all of that. So like those times were a little hard. And then things that were rewarding, I think the end of the show always felt so rewarding. And I think this is why people often ask me the question of like, how did you do that show for so long and not let it like bog you down? And it's
Mhm.
because of how well rounded the show is and how well I do think it's tied up with a bow at the end. And it really does like come to light. And I do think that everyone finds forgiveness. And I think everyone actually does end in a better place than where they began the story. And that was so gratifying every single night to get to like sing that finale and like we're all like smiling at Mikey and you truly do feel like all of these people are going to be okay. And that was such a good feeling because it does end on such a like a light hearted note. Um, so that part was like so gratifying.
I mean, I have to touch on one thing that you said because I mean, I know the show like the back of my hand. Like, that's what gave me my spark for theater. And what you said about like, Zoe being 16 and playing it,
Mm,
as an older person and having to touch on the things that you have evolved as a person, but Zoe hasn't. Like, that's so interesting.
mhm.
I've never heard it put that way before. And like, what was that like for you kind of having to, I don't want to say necessarily like turn off, but to kind of step back from like those skills that you already had and you're like, well, Zoe hasn't gone through that yet. So how do I portray that?
Yeah, I think in those moments, like I really had to engage with how I felt in high school and like trying to remember like what was it like to be, 16, 17, like figuring out how to deal with like complex emotions, maybe for the first time. And I really had to explore like what was Hattie in high school like, and like what were the things that like she thought and felt and dealt with, and yeah, so I did kind of have to remove that like frontal lobe a little bit and be like, what would it be like to be frustrated by your parents and to feel like you've been forgotten and to have to go to high school every day and to like truly like not care about like the social hierarchy and status quo of all the things, and what would it be like to like maybe have a crush on a boy for like the very first time ever, and like what would it be like to then feel betrayed by that boy, all of these things, like what would it truly feel like if I was like 16 and dealing with all of these things again. And so like I think just like drawing on like my past self was like very, very helpful in those moments.
Yeah, I had that funny experience. I'm excited to get your insight on this because I just finished a run as Natalie in Next to Normal. And
Oh
I
my
finished my
gosh.
run and I literally went home and I said to myself, I was like, oh my God, Zoe and Natalie are the same person, just
Yes.
different fonts. And this
Yes,
was
a
like
hundred percent.
discovery of my life. And like that creative process for me too, like I felt that same way because like I saw a lot
Hmm.
of myself in Natalie, but then there were also like
Hmm.
the drastic things that she went through that I never experienced. And I was like, how do I
Hmm.
tap into this and portray this authentically, even though I haven't evolved yet, or I've evolved in ways that Natalie hasn't? And I think that that was such a cool awakening for me as an actor. And it taught me so
Yeah.
much that I didn't know you had to do during a creative process.
Yes. Oh, I love that so much, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. I actually recently had an audition for a production of Next to Normal for Natalie, and as I was doing like the sides and the songs, I was like, oh, it's just Zoe. Like
Yeah,
it's
100%.
truly just Zoe. Like they are such
Yeah.
similar characters, and like obviously they deal with like slightly different things, but I fully agree with you. I think they're just the same
Yeah.
character. And I also think the great thing about characters like that, you know, like Zoe and like Natalie, is that they can kind of morph depending on the person playing them. And
Yeah.
so like I do think that like if I was to play Natalie, like she would be very, very similar to Zoe for me because of who I am. And probably the same if you get to play Zoe, which you
Yeah.
probably will, you know, it will
Yeah.
probably feel very similar to playing Natalie just because of who you are. And
Oh
those will
yeah.
be like some similar, you know, things that you'll have to like think about and go through and all of that. So yeah,
I
I
know. It
fully
was
agree with you.
Yeah, we did a show about my life at the Green Room 42 and like my journey. And I had a bunch of Evan Hansen people in it, obviously, because like that show is my everything. And I got to sing Only Us and Sincerely Me with the first national tour company. And
Oh, that's
I remember
amazing.
like reading through like the Zoe stuff and like practicing. And I was like,
Mhm.
I need to do this like on a stage, like actually do it. I was like, I'm so grateful I got to do elements of this role, but I need to
Mhm.
actually do it. It's like top of my bucket list.
You will 100%. I mean,
Oh.
now that the rights are released, like everyone's doing it. So like you will do it 100%.
Oh yeah. So what was your overall experience like bringing such an important story across North America? And how did it feel to get to connect with so many people through this role?
That was like one of my favorite parts of the process. I mean, it is one of those shows that people have such a like a deep emotional connection to. And so that was so cool to like get to talk to people and to hear people's experiences with it and to just hear like how positively it impacted people. And you know, so many people saying like this was so healing for me or this was so like, you know, just all of that things that like you always want to hear as an actor, but like, you know, when you're doing like more lighthearted shows, which like there's totally a time and place for that. Like I love like a lighthearted, fun, rompy show. But I feel like those kinds of shows don't always come with that like deep, like emotional, like outpouring the way that, you know, a show like Dear Evan Hansen does. And so that part of it was like really, really cool to get to hear from people. You know, people are crying at the stage door, hugging me, and all of those things, which is just like, oh my gosh, like it's so crazy that like something that I had a hand in could affect people in that way. And then also too to like get to bring it across the entirety of North America to get to take it into communities that don't often like get like these big flashy musicals coming through because sometimes we were in like really really small towns and like really really small theaters and for people to be like thank you so much for coming here like so many people would say like we don't get big musicals like this so it's so cool to have you guys come here and so that part was really really amazing too and that's like something that you get being a part of a second national tour because you kind of go to those smaller cities that the first national tour doesn't always get to hit so yeah it was so amazing and to get to see the country in that way and to see like all these little towns that I didn't even know existed so fun so awesome.
Yeah, and like that's the best thing about touring is like you get to see these places that you'd never go to otherwise and get to do your favorite thing.
Yes,
It's so awesome.
exactly, yeah, so cool.
So, did you have a favorite scene, song, and moment in the show that you looked forward to performing each night?
Oh my gosh. One of my favorites was Only Us. Partly because of getting to do it with Mikey, like we had such a trust and such a connection with one another. And so like I always knew that that scene and song were going to go well and we're going to feel good because it was like just me and him on stage and like just getting to connect with him every night in that way was just such a fun process every single time. And it always felt a little different. You know, he and I, we would like try out new jokes on each other. And obviously the lines stayed the same, but it's like, what if I played it this way? Or like, what if I played it this way? And things like that. Like we were always like workshopping together. And so then it always just felt like such a collaboration between him and I. And I always just felt like we were playing ping pong. Like it always felt like if I serve him a line a little different, like he's going to serve it right back. And it's always going to be this like very fun process and experience. And it's so you feel so safe on stage when you have that kind of trust with a person, you know, like whatever happens, we're gonna be just fine. Like there was, I don't know if you ever watch my TikToks, but I made one talking about
Always,
there was
all
one
the
night.
time. I
Well,
love
I
your
don't know if you
TikTok.
saw, thank you. I don't know if you saw the one where I talked about like there was one night when the Evans bedside table like fell over and
Yes,
everything on the table like fell off and like the light bulb
yes.
broke and the mug toppled over. And so instead of doing the scene the way that we typically do it, like we had to do the scene picking up the stuff because all I could think about was the fact that like we can't leave this stuff on the stage. Like it needs to like at least be in some sort of order. You know, we didn't get it perfect, but like we literally like we're doing the lines, are like picking up the stuff and just trying to make sure that it's like okay. And like, but at this, it was so exciting and so nerve wracking. But at the same time, I was like, me and Mikey got each other. Like we have each other in this moment, and we're gonna be just fine. Um, and like to have that kind of trust with a scene partner is like so amazing. So that was always like absolutely one of my favorites. Obviously, Requiem is everything. Like it is just everything that you want out of like a power ballad. So I mean, that one always felt incredible, but that one I feel like didn't feel quite as incredible just because I was alone and I wasn't really getting to like share it with anyone. Obviously the parents are on the stage, but it's not like we're like interacting. So like only us is just so great because it's like it was such a conversation and that just feels so good as an actor.
I mean, singing that is just such a good time, and we have to talk about your Requiem because this is gonna sound so weird, but it lingers in my mind the way you did the like intro into like No One Mourns at All with the nose.
Oh,
Nobody did it like you, and that
oh,
just like, oh my God, chills every time. Thank you for posting your rendition because
oh.
that plays a million times, like every single day. Like the way you did it, like there was nothing like it. Like it was
Thank
so
you.
good. It was
Thank
so
you so
good.
much. Thank
Um,
you. Thank you so much.
so what was your highlight moment in Dear Evan Hansen and any favorite memories from your time touring with the show?
One of it's kind of like an ongoing thing, but it was so cool to get to do, as we mentioned, you know, a show like that and bring it all across the country and an amazing perk and benefit that I didn't know was going to happen was the fact that like I would have friends come out to the most random cities. Like I would be in like the most random place and someone would text me and be like, I'm at the show tonight. And I was like, what? I didn't even know that you lived here. And so it really felt like a tour of seeing like every single person from so many different walks of my life, people that I hadn't connected with in years. And like as a theater person, you know, our schedules are so crazy and we have to miss things so often. Like we don't always get to go to holidays, we don't always get to go to the birthday parties or on the trips or whatever because our jobs often have to take precedence. So to get to do my job, but at the same time, like get to connect with people that like meant so much to me and like people that knew me since childhood or people that I knew in high school or college or things like that, that they all got to like come out and see the show and like see me do the thing that I love doing. And maybe it was like their first time ever seeing me get to do that. Like that was so special for me. And like, you know, my parents got to come out, my sisters got to come out, my extended family got to come out. And like that was so cool, especially because like now I work on a cruise ship and like that's not always the case. You know, you're far away from your family for a long time. So to get to be on land and to get to like see people and have them come see the show and like something that I'm so proud of was like such an amazing like experience. I'm so grateful.
Oh, that's amazing. And of course, we have to get into working on cruise ships because that's just the coolest thing ever that not so many people get to experience. And you've got to work on multiple with Norwegian
Mhm.
Cruise Line, and you're currently on the Disney Cruise Line. So, what has it been like performing and living on a Disney cruise ship?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it really is amazing. It's such a different life. And it's hard to like, I will do my best to describe it, but it's like I feel like until you live it, like it's so different. But one of the hard parts of it is the fact that like you don't always have the autonomy that you do when you're like in your own space and like in your own apartment and you can cook all your meals and all that stuff. Because like you live in a cabin and you go to the mess to eat your meals or you go and like eat in guest area. But that part of it is also amazing. Like you where the place that you live, you work, you eat, you socialize, you rest, you play, all of that is like all in the same spot. Which like that part of it's so fun. You have an amazing community around you and when it's time to go to work, you just have to like walk up two flights upstairs and then you're at the theater, you know? And so like that part of it's so cool. And then to be immersed in the Disney product in the way that I am working on Disney Cruise Line, like obviously like it is such a special company to me. I love the storytelling aspect of Disney. I love like everything that they represent as a company. the families that we get to meet and just how much this means to them is like so special. And then getting to play Anna in Frozen on the Disney ship, like is just like such a dream come true. Like it's one of those roles that like similarly to Zoe, it feels so me, even though those roles are so different. It's like
Yeah.
they're like the two sides of my personality. Like Anna is over here and Zoe is over here, and like I'm in the middle. And they're so I think that's like the Venn diagram of them maybe is like me. Um
I love
and so getting to do a show like that for like thousands and thousands of people, like every few days is just such an incredible experience and um something that I will never, never, never take for granted because like I grew up watching Frozen and I grew up babysitting children who were watching Frozen and it's such a special story. And again, it's a story about sisters, and which I mentioned like my sisters are so important to me and so that's part of like why this story is like so near and dear to my heart. And then the fact that you're on a cruise ship and every day you like wake up in a new spot and we get to go to like islands in the Bahamas and then we're like today we're in Florida and all of that part is like so awesome because all your stuff just like stays on the ship and you just get off the ship and you get to explore and go to the beach or whatever. So that part of it is like so fun. It's sometimes it really feels like you're just like living life on vacation. So that part's really cool too. But it is truly, truly wonderful. I'm so grateful for the job.
Yeah, and like cruise life is the best. Like I'm so grateful that my family is such a cruise family and like getting to see theater on the ships and like getting to see how that kind of transforms and like how people discover theater because of cruise ships because like we were talking about earlier like some places that people live in like they don't have great access to theater and like I'll never forget
Mm-hmm.
I got to see Grease on land and then 2 weeks later I saw Grease on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship and it was the craziest thing. And
Oh my
like
gosh,
getting to
yes.
see people fall in love with theater at sea and like seeing that you can
Mm-hmm.
bring Broadway scale productions to cruises are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And you just get to touch so many more people with theater that probably wouldn't get to see it if they weren't on a cruise.
Exactly. And like to see like all the little kids in the audience who are like, this might be like their first production ever. I mean, similar to like what we talked about of like, you getting to do like your children's tour and, getting to be like that first experience for people like that part's like so cool. And like, we have Christmas is coming up. We're doing a couple of Frozen shows on Christmas and to think that like there's families that get to spend their Christmas like watching us do Frozen, like and that we get to be a part of like their Christmas in that way. Like that's so cool and so special. So yeah, it is so 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 special.
So, what has working on Disney Cruise Line taught you about versatility and performing in such unique environments? Because not many actors get to do that.
This is such a great question because we do sorry do um we do three shows and we kind of do them like in reps. So our three shows are Frozen, Hercules, and then a show called Seize the Adventure. And we do a different one like every couple of days. And in all of the roles that I play within each of those shows is so different. And the like job that I do, like in Hercules, I'm largely in the ensemble. And so I get to like sing and dance in the ensemble and like experience being a part of a company in that way. And then when I'm in Frozen, obviously I'm kind of like leading the show, and that's like such a different role to step into and like so important in such a different way. And then Seize the Adventure, I get to play Merida and I get to sing like a little song as Merida. And so I'm just in it kind of like for a blip, but it's like so fun. And so to get to like be in such different types of shows in that way and to like constantly be like putting on like a different hat is truly so cool. And it also keeps it so fresh in such a nice way. Like it's hard to like get sick of the show because you do it for a day and then you don't touch it for like 5 or 6 days and then you come back to it. So that part of it's like really, really nice too, because you're like, oh, I haven't done Frozen in so long. I'm so excited for Frozen. Or like, oh wow, it feels like it's been a while since we've done Hercules. So that part is like really nice.
Yeah, and what's that like, keeping all those roles like distinct in your brain? Because it's like swinging kind of.
A little bit, and I mean, not to even like try to touch like what swings do. We have a couple swings on our ship, and like their jobs are
Yeah.
absolutely insane. But I think it's helpful that each of the shows are so distinct in their own way. Like Hercules has such a different vibe to Frozen, like even like down to the costumes that we wear and down to like the style of music and all of that. And so it's like when it's a Hercules day, I feel like I just step into like a completely different like vibe, and it's kind of helped out by like every aspect of that show. The set is so different, like the lighting is so different, and so I feel like it's actually not too hard to like you're just like, okay, I'm here, like I'm in Hercules and I'm like this person. And then Merida, like I don't do any lines. Merida, I just basically like sing her song. I run on stage, I sing her song, I run off stage. And so that's super fun too. And it's I use a bit of a Scottish accent for that one. It's not great,
Oh,
but
I love that.
yes. But like it's helpful that like those characters are so distinct in that way too. So it's not too difficult to keep them separate.
Oh, that's incredible. I mean, getting to bring so many Disney stories to life on a Disney cruise ship, like I can't imagine what
Mhm.
that experience is like.
Yeah, it's truly awesome. It just I'm constantly like struck with the realization like I am a small cog in a massive machine, and a machine that has been running for a long time before me and will run for a long time after me. But I'm so grateful to be like a small part of that machine for like a small time.
Oh. So, is there a particular project or moment that you feel truly defined you as an artist?
Hmm. Um, oh, this is a really great question. In college, I got to do a production of Bright Star, and that was a really, really special moment for me.
What a show.
That show is like so special. I got to play Alice Murphy, which like was just such an incredible role to take on. And I mean, of course, like being a college student, I was definitely like too young to play like the older side of Alice, but you know, the 16-year-old part of her was very okay for me. But like that was like one of those shows that's like just so full of heart and like so full of like just the storytelling aspect of it and the music. It's like one of my favorites like leading up to that moment as well. And so that process was like truly like such a dream come true of a show. And it was like one of those shows that like just every single like scene, every single song just like felt so good and felt like, oh, this is exactly like the kind of work I like love to do. So that was one of those shows that was like so defining for me, and I was so proud to be a part of it and to get to do that. Um, that's one of those shows like please like in 15, 20 years like let me do it again. I'm dying to. Um, yeah, that was really really amazing. And then obviously the tour, like getting to do like my first national tour was like oh my gosh, everything and more. I could talk for hours about just like how special that process was, and truly felt like such a defining moment in my career of being like, heck yes, like this is the thing that I'm gonna do, and like it is gonna work out for me. And um, yeah, that was I could speak about it forever. But yeah, the tour was definitely like up to this point like one of the biggest like defining moments as well.
And I mean, those two shows are just, those are incredible. I mean, those have special places in my heart, much like they do to yours,
Mm,
but those shows are just, wow. I need both of
yes,
them revived like right now.
absolutely, like for sure, 100%.
Oh, so looking back on everything you have achieved in this industry, what advice would you give your younger self entering the industry?
I mean, one of the biggest piece of advice would be don't stress and don't rush. Which is like so easier said than done. Like I remember being, and I still feel this way often. Like I'm so eager to get to all the things that are coming my way. Like I want everything and I want all of it and I want it all right now. But at the same time, like you know, I mentioned the fact that like Dear Evan Hansen was like a 7 year process for me. And like it's so easy now to look back and recognize that I would not have been prepared for that show in the way that I was when I finally got to do it. Like I really think that like my 19-year-old self would have done a good job. I do think it would have been good, but I having the like life experience and having the professional experience that I did leading up to when I did finally get to do it, I think for me was paramount and really made that experience what it was. And I just don't think I would have been ready for that when I was 19. And I there was no way I could have known that at the time. Because at the time all I wanted was to like leave college and to be on Broadway. But it's so easy to like look back and be like, oh well this is how the stones laid themselves out so that you could like walk down the path. So if I could like just if I could go back and like take my own hand and be like, you're going to be okay. I promise you're gonna be fine. Like, don't stress. That's definitely one thing that I would tell myself. Excuse me. I think the other piece of advice that I would give myself is to just like soak in every single part of life possible. I think as artists, like the best thing that we can do for our craft and for our artistry is to experience every single thing that you can because it will only feed into your artistry and it will only like deepen and enrich your craft. Like if you take a trip to a different country or even just different part of the United States, like that trip will feed into your artistry. If you make friends with someone that you never would have expected yourself to make friends with, like that will feed into your artistry. If you pick up a random hobby, if you read a book, if you like any experience that you have will become part of your artistic journey and the way that you like craft your artistry. Sorry, I'm not using great words to describe this. But I truly do believe that like we are such a mosaic of all the things that we've ever seen and done. And if you only ever spend your life like pursuing theater, like if you're just like, I'm a theater person and all I'm ever going to do is theater, and this is my only hobby, and this is all I'm going to do, and I'm only going to do musicals, and I'm only going to go to rehearsal, like you don't have a very like rich well of things to draw from. Whereas if you go out, live your life, have experiences, like do things, like take a step away from your career, come back to your career, like change careers, like whatever it may be, like you're gonna come at that that piece or whatever you're working on with just such a broader palette of colors to paint with, for lack of a better metaphor. So yeah, I would definitely tell myself like, do not stress about the times, those times when you're not in a show. Like, don't stress because that's when you're like picking up new paints to add to your palette.
Yeah, I always use the toolbox analogy, and I always say that like
Mm.
everything you do in life gives you a different tool, and you can use that in life, but you can also use that on stage when you're playing a character, and all those puzzle pieces kind of come together, and they create this masterpiece, and it's just all the tools that you get through all your different walks of life.
Yes, you said that in such a better, shorter way, and exactly that. Yes,
No, no,
100%.
no. What you said really stuck with me is like the
Oh no. Oh no, I think I lost you for a second.
kind of using yourself to shape what you put out on stage. That's really, really special.
Yes, yes. Sorry, I lost you for just a second, but you're back now.
You're good, you're good. I just wanted to say thank you so, so much for joining me on the Inspiration Show. Words truly cannot describe how much it means to me. I'm just in constant awe of you and your incredible talent, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to get to look up to you and watch you shine. I'm so forever grateful for you and the incredible impact you've had on my life and my theater journey, and it was such an honor to have you here. Thank you for inspiring me.
Oh, Allison, thank you so much for having me. Truly, it's so lovely to talk to you. This has been a fantastic conversation, and I am truly looking forward to staying in touch in the future. And I truly hope our paths cross at some point. And I'm so excited for you and all of the things that are coming your way. I can't wait to see everything that happens at Pace, if that is where you decide to ultimately go, and all of that. And I can't be more grateful for the fact that you reached out to me and like had me come on your podcast and everything. This is so fun for me. So thank you so much.
You're the greatest, and my life will be made when I get to play your younger sister in a show someday.
Let's do it. Literally, let's do it. Let's make it
Oh,
happen.
you're the greatest.